Welcome back to Creepy Clips. In today's video, I'm starting a new series focused on situational awareness when it comes to survivors in the match who are on the hook and survivors who are not. I'm noticing a lot of survivors in solo queue who panic and do a number of things when members of their team get hooked by the killer. They either hide across the map, hide in lockers, hide in killer basement, some continue doing objectives, and then there's some that just flat out don't care if you die on hook or not. Today I have 3 different situations where I find myself on hook in solo queue matches. I'm gonna break down and go through each example. As we go through each one, let me know if this has happened to you or if you've had teammates that rescue you from certain death. Okay, so this first example took place back when we had our first look at the long-anticipated 2v8 game mode. Wraith and Huntress were the killers, with 3 survivors left in the match, including me on the hook. I'm watching the Fang run around getting closer to me for the save, but not really. Then I can see why they haven't made the save, as the Corn is moving about while the Wraith is laser focused on Fang, looking for the kill. While this is happening, upstairs in the main building of Coldwind Farm, Ace is crouching around doing nothing. He's not injured, so I know he's not looking for a chest and hopes to find a medkit to heal. The Huntress runs past my hook, causing me to be relocated. At this point, Fang and I are on the hook, so I'm really wondering what the play is here that Ace is thinking. All the while hoping he can finally make a move here and rescue me from dying on the hook so I can save Fang from the hook. As I'm waiting to be saved, hitting every skill check along the way, it's become painfully obvious what the agenda is of this player. A lot of solo queue players do this when they feel a match is lost. They're going to the default mentality of letting players on the hook die so they don't have to put themselves in harm's way in hopes to ensure their own survival. Clearly I didn't survive the match, but from the looks of it, neither did that Ace. Okay, here's my thoughts. When there's a survivor on the hook, the last thing that a player who's doing nothing at all should be doing is hiding out. The survivor side of this game gives you better odds at survival by having more of your team alive than dead. Now, when a teammate is on the hook, like I was, and the killer was busy chasing down another survivor, the Ace should have been easily getting a successful save. Again, you should not be hiding out doing nothing to help the situation. This player that was hiding out wasn't even trying to help in any way, shape, or form. They could have been doing a generator, something to push the game in the survivor's favor. But again, they did nothing but crouch around and let our team die, playing right into the hands of the killer, ensuring their victory. Playing the way this player did is a recipe for death and really gives the experience of solo queue a bad reputation. There was plenty of time, space, and opportunity for the save to be made. This just came down to a selfish player doing what was best for them. On to the second example. It takes place on the Greenville Square map. Legion ends up downing me and hooking me. We're in a good position with 2 gens left. It's my second hook and the 4th hook of the match so far. So it should be well known that Legion is running Monstrous Shrine, so hook states take less time to progress. So you would think urgency would be on the mind of the other 3 survivors to make the save. But nope! Look how long I'm on the hook for, and literally none of them come for the save. Let's think for a second. Since Legion hooked me, he hasn't been on any other survivor since. 2 of the 3 survivors are literally a Deception's Pebble throw away from me in Killer Shack. Nia heals up Gore in the basement. At this point, I'm really not sure what's going on. I mean, the killer isn't on anybody. 2 of the 3 survivors are now healthy and in range to make the save, but for some reason, they choose not to. Nia leaves the basement, doesn't make the save, but instead decides to go all the way across the map to work on a gen with Fang.
What were you thinking?
Laura decides to stay in the basement and open a chest. Once it's open, she then stands there as if she's under a spell cast by Vecna from Stranger Things. Like, where is the sense in that? And Fang? Well, she was the furthest away from the hook, so I doubt that she was gonna get off that gen and make the save. The 3 of them decide not to save me, and I end up being another victim sacrificed to the entity. Frankly, I'm blown away by this one. Okay, here's my thoughts on this bizarre situation. Number 1, it takes 70 seconds in the struggle state to the time it takes to be sacrificed. Those 2 were extremely close to the hook when Nia decided it was more important to heal Lara. Here's a question for everybody. When your teammate gets hooked by the killer and you are as close as those 2 were to make the save and the killer is not around, is it more important to make the save for your teammate who is in the struggle phase or heal a survivor who hasn't even been hooked yet? Clearly the answer is make the save. Number 2, I have no clue, rhyme, or reason as to why Nia left Killer Shack and didn't make the save, but then decided to go across the map to work on a generator with Fang. But by the time she gets there, the killer finally decides to wake up from his slumber, and they didn't even get the gen done anyway. If that was their plan, make the save first. Obvious tip, always ensure the safety of your team so you have a better chance of survival. Number 3. The last survivor that could have saved me was Fang Min, but honestly, I don't blame Fang at all. But why? Well, for the pure reason she was doing a generator across the map being productive, and there were 2 other survivors right next to me that could have made the save. DBDIQ would tell you, stay on the generator to keep raising the survival percentages for you and your team, especially if there is no other survivors who are doing anything and not being chased by the killer. Those survivors not doing anything should be on the way to make the save. Fang staying on the generator was the right call, and honestly would have done the same thing myself. My final thought on this example is, if you're a new or experienced survivor, keep a close eye on your HUD. It's always a good idea to know where or what your teammates are doing. The HUD is there for a reason, so use it. If these players did, I probably wouldn't have died on the hook. We've now arrived at the 3rd example of this video, and this is the worst one yet. As you can see, we're on the artist map Eyrie of Crows. I've been hooked by the pig, and it's my first hook. There's 1 dead survivor so far. Yui is being chased by the killer, but the pig breaks chase after putting Yui in the injured state due to seeing Cheryl running to make the save. Cheryl's a pretty decent lead on the killer and could have made the save with getting hit once, and I could have taken the extra hit with my endurance status effect, and we both could have gotten some good distance to get away. That's what I was thinking at least, but Cheryl decided that wasn't a good plan and kept running past the hook. While Cheryl's being chased by the killer, Yui's off trying to heal, but while she's healing, Yui is realizing that I've been on the hook for too long and I'm about to go into the struggle phase.
Holy shit.
Yui works her way through the main building, trying to get to me, but the pig breaks chase with Cheryl and cuts back to the hook, stopping the injured Yui and forcing her to retreat. The killer did chase Yui for a little bit, but Cheryl makes no attempt, and before I knew it, the pig was back and the entity began to sink their sharp and jagged grip into me. So now I'm on second hook, the pig is chasing Cheryl again, and Yui is back at the top of main building healing. Cheryl's running the pig for a good amount of time, giving Yui enough time to make the save, but there is no urgency on the part of my fellow teammate. They are too concerned with making sure that they are healed up, but still in all that time, Yui doesn't even end up healed. Pig stops chasing Cheryl and cuts back close to the hook. Yui is coming to make the save finally, but again took way too long and gets cut off by the killer, and she retreats back upstairs and begins healing again. This heal seems to be taking forever. Everybody watching this right now is probably wondering, what are these players thinking? Now the killer isn't on either one of them, and neither survivor makes the save, and I end up dying on hook. First hook, death hook.
Seriously? Holy crap!
I know, crazy, right? Here are a couple of questions for you all. In this situation, what would you have done? And do you think Yui was running self-care? And why? Okay, first things first. With what should have been an obvious play to save me from going first hook to death hook, I don't see why it wasn't put into action by the remaining survivors. I wanted to mention this during my synopsis of this example, but I wanted to save it for my thoughts. Between Yui and Cheryl, they had no hooks. One survivor was already wasted, and I was suffering on the hook. Something players don't get is, the 12 hooks that the 4 survivors start the match with are the teams. This is my thought about hooks anyway. They should be used in a way that keeps the whole team alive longer. This way, more objectives can be done, and the team can keep the killer busy longer by being in more places. In this situation, the most effective move would have been for Cheryl to make the save when she first ran by the hook, or when the pig was chasing Yui. The Cheryl wasn't even injured and could have easily made the save if they didn't spend so much time hesitating. My thinking here is making the save gets me off the hook, so we have 3 survivors in the game, not 2. Increasing the survival rate. The gens were all done, and all that was left was to get the gates open and escape. Like I said, there was more than enough time throughout my time on the hook. If these players acted with more haste, my fate in this match would most definitely have a different outcome. So after seeing these 3 situations and how the match can change when there's a teammate on the hook, I'm hoping that players understand the importance of keeping your teammates alive. The pressure of doing objectives is one of the major keys to escaping a trial. With less teammates in the trial, it's harder to keep the killer busy while at the same time getting totems cleansed, generators repaired, heals completed, saves being done safely, and whatever else needs to be done to increase the survivor's chances of winning, thus putting the killer's odds of winning way up. There's a saying that is well known: teamwork makes the dream work. This can't be more of an appropriate quote when you and your teammates step into the fog. Use your HUD, it's there for a reason. Go for the save, trade if you have to, but do what you have to keep your teammates alive. Otherwise, you will be dead by daylight. Well, that's gonna wrap up another video here at Creepy Clips. Hopefully you found this video useful and can utilize the tips I've shared in your future games. A certain mindset will always help survivors survive against the most horrific and malicious killers that roam the realms of the fog. Always be on your toes and keep your head on a swivel. Just think, is it better knowing you're facing a killer by yourself or knowing you have backup with 3 other teammates? As we end off this video, I just want to say thank you again for coming by and checking out what's next for Creepy Clips. I work really hard on these videos, giving you the best out of my creative mind each and every time. So if you like what you see and you want to see more fun and situational Dead by Daylight content like this, then please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time here at Creepy Clips.